That's it, I am live, so I'm just waiting to see who's joining us. I'll give everybody a few minutes. Oh, I can see, yes, Katie and Michelle, Leandra's here, Tony's here. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Oh yeah, so you've got quite a few people in, so I'll just give it a few minutes. I'm just glancing over at my iPad actually, and I can just see who's joining us. Ah, Steve Crane's here. And Dunia from Paper Artsy. And Jill, oh, it's so nice to see so many people joining already. And Jofi's here, Avril, Anne, so nice, thanks for joining me on a bank holiday as well. I've been very confused all day, I thought it was Sunday all day. Yay, lots of people still joining, so I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. Oh, Stephen's joined. Hello Stephen, fellow teacher. And Kim. Mags, you've been sorting me out in the group today. Thanks, Mags. Susie's here. Oh, this is so nice to see so many familiar names. It's going to be a bit Christmassy today. Is it too early to say Happy Christmas? It's only 121 sleeps, you know. I checked that today. And Diane, hi Diane, Yvonne. And Faye's here, Natasha, oh, and Debbie. This is lovely to see so many familiar names. Great, people are still joining. Do you know, it doesn't seem that long since I was doing my first Paper Artsy launch. It doesn't seem that long at all. Now, when I did the last one, the kind of first one with Paper Artsy, I had Leandra with me and we were side by side doing the live, but today I'm on my own. I feel like I've been let out to play without any supervision, so anything could happen. Today I was setting up and I accidentally, I don't know if you know this happens on your iPhone, if you press the two side buttons, you can accidentally, or maybe on purpose, ring emergency services. Well, my phone made the loudest noise ever. I really didn't know what was going on, so I'll try not to have too many technical hitches. Oh, again, still loads of people joining. Frantic Stampers here. And Liz from very, very down south. Oh, from Australia. Wow, we've really gone global. And Amanda, Letitia, this is so lovely. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Well, I'm going to make a start anyway. I know people are still joining, and I'm sure that they'll catch up when they do. So first of all, thanks for joining me tonight, and especially thank you for your enthusiasm for my first collection with Paper Artsy. It's been absolutely amazing to see all of the things that other people do with the stamps that I design, because people do things that I would never have even thought of doing. So it's lovely to see different things, different takes on the same stamp set. All I can say as well is I've seen a lot of fish. Fish keep popping up all the time. Now, those fish are still useful, by the way. You can have Christmas fish, no worries about that. So thank you for all your enthusiasm. It's you know, it's really nice feeling, and it really pushes you on to make more stamps and design more things. So thank you for that. So this time I have got 3 stamp sets and 3 stencils. So I've got lots of samples to share with you, lots of little tricks of the way that I've been doing things. I tend to go through phases of things and get a little bit obsessed about adding certain things, you know, and these phases pass and then you start something different. So I'll be sharing all of that with you and lots of samples. So first of all, let's have a look. And I'll show you these properly close up, but this is a stamp set here. This one is KC006 with these little people, and these people have been designed to potentially stand up. And then this one, oh, by the way, this one isn't necessarily Christmas either, so that one's a little bit more flexible. This one actually though, KC007, this one is definitely Christmassy. There is no getting away from that one. There's a snowman, a fairy, Santa, a reindeer, so it's definitely Christmassy. And this one's also Christmassy really, but it doesn't have to be. There's a couple in there that could be definitely non-Christmas, and that's KC008. And then some stencils. Now let me get these in the right order. So this one is the 440. This is the primitive or kind of naive style stars. And then the flowers. So this one is 441. And then another moon one. You know, I love the moon. I can't get away from that. So there we are, another moon phase stencil. So 3 stamp sets and 3 stencils. So I think, yes, so, oh, I can see that Stampers Grove have joined us. Hello, James. Yes, any retailers here, please do feel free to share your links underneath in the comments. People already are, that's great. So please do share those links. So if you are wondering where you can get the stamps from, if you go to the blog and look at the top at stockists, all over the world there are stockists, and you can get a direct link to wherever you are in the world, and these will all be available to buy as soon as we finish the live tonight. So you can go to your local retailer and you'll be able to get these tonight. Now I'm going to turn the camera, so bear with me just for a minute and I'll try and get the camera and everything the right way round, and then we can have a closer look. And I think we need a little bit of light as well. The only thing is it can get a little bit shiny, but I hate to say this because it's only August, but it is actually drawing in and getting a little bit dark already. So let's just get things in the right place and then we'll be good to go. Somebody, Frantic Stamper, is admiring the view out of my window. I've got a fabulous house opposite me actually, I've drawn it many times. So I'm going to start with the little stand people. Now these don't necessarily have to be Christmassy at all. So they are, you know, standalone in their own right. This one here, by the way, where the flower is, this one became the stencil here. So quite often my stencils are attached to designs on the stamps. Now it was actually Leandra that prompted me to add this little extra here of a name plaque, because Leandra could see the potential with this set, that I'd added the little stand here already, but she could see the potential that these could be little stand-up figures. Now it's hard to show you this on an angle when you're filming, because the minute I stand them up I don't think you can see them that well. And by the way, these are just on here because I take them to shows and things and they're out on display, so we need to sort of let people see them standing up. Okay, and then I'll just lay them down flat again so you can see. And then what I did on each of these name tags, now you could be kind of a grown-up about this and actually put people's proper names in there. So if you were having, say, guests around for your Christmas dinner or whatever, you could put their names in, but I thought it was a lot more funny to use. Now on here there is the quote, "'Tis the season to be jolly, tipsy, tired, grumpy and thankful," and I thought it was a lot more funny to put those on there and ask your guests to find out where they're sitting, like who wants to be grumpy, who wants to be tipsy. Anyway, that was just a bit of fun. But if I just turn those over, and then you can see there, I've added the little stand, and you can see where I've just put the gold cord around to have the little banners round their necks. Frantic Stampers Tipsy. Oh, yeah, I'm with you there, especially at Christmas. So let me see, I've got a couple of other things here as well. Now the stand here also works as kind of legs. In fact, I've used it in other stamps in different ways as well. It's actually really useful, that little stand. So let's have a look at this one first. You can see in the background here, by the way, this is the moon phase stencil right behind here. And this is an alcohol ink print here that's also with the moon phase stencil. And underneath here is just the infusions with the splatters. Now, after my last collection, after the last launch, I did do 3 little lives, and you can find those if you go to the guide section and look down for my name. You'll find links for those of how to do all of these kind of backgrounds with, this is with infusions and then this is with alcohol ink. So you'll find links to see if you want to have a go at those or you need a reminder. This circle here I made as a little window, and in there, I'm not sure if you can really see it in this light, there is a layer of, I've used Duralar, graphics Duralar, just to make a little window there so she's peeping out from the window. Now these black bits here, that's also on Duralar, and I'm going to show you that in a little while, because this is the thing I've been using a lot of, and even behind her head. So I'll come back to that in a moment. You're also going to see it here, look. So there's quite a lot of the black which I've put on Duralar. So here she is again, look, with a slightly different one, with a stand, so she's standing up rather than using it to prop her up. In the background here, this is the star stencil, and I did this, this is kind of old school distress ink technique, so literally just picked up some distress ink and then sponge through to make those stars on top. And in the background you can see moon phases there. Now I want to share a little card with you by somebody else. This one is by my good friend and talented friend Katie Norgate. So she's been having a little play with the new stamps, and she's done a very definitely Christmassy one here with the same figure, and quite a lot of alcohol ink here, I think, in the background. Super bright, really nice colourful card. So that one is by Katie Norgate. Right, let's move on to the Christmas, I call these Christmas Skittles, because they are like little skittle shapes. When I design these, let me just grab the packet here. So when I design these are 007. There's a James Bond joke in there, isn't there? I wanted some things that were quite easy to cut out. So sometimes at Christmas you might end up doing quite a lot of things and you don't want too much fussy cutting maybe. I also made sure that all of these lines join. If any of you use a digital cutter like a Scan and Cut, you will know that if there's any gaps, it goes inside and it tries to cut everything out. So I made sure that all of these lines joined all the way around, even here double lined so that it will cut out the baubles and things. So that was the reason for that. Now the frame here, the frame is actually too small. That was deliberate because I wanted to be able to, it's optional, you could put the snowman in there, cut him off and just have his little profile in there maybe. But I really wanted these little characters to be able to burst out of that frame. So let's find an example of that. Okay, here's the further look. So she's bursting out. So I cut off at the bottom and I've brought the wings and the crown and this little star here over the top. So she's bursting out and shouting surprise. The back here is the star stencil again, just with distress ink sponged through. For me, this is the hardest thing, keeping the whole card clean and not putting fingerprints on when you're doing a background like that. And you'll also see I've put a little bit of gold in there. And here she's on the stars behind there, and this is the flower stencil. So all of my stencil designs all get layered up. And you can just see, if you look closely, what she's got behind. And here's a bit of that black again. I'm going to come back to that, remember. This one. Now I got a little bit clever Oh, his arm's fallen off. That's not so clever, is it? I'll stick that back on. I got a little bit clever with the stamping on here because when I did it, I wanted to keep his arms inside so that it was very easy just to cut that shape out. But if you're a little bit clever when you're stamping, you can mask those arms with a bit of paper and just ink his outline. And then if you stamp him again and cut his arms out, you can have him bursting out with his arms coming out of that frame. And he's layered here on, this is another alcohol ink print here, and behind, now I don't think you can quite get this perhaps on film here, but what I've done there, I've used the, if I can find it, I'm already in the module here. I've used the star stencil with infusions, but I've also been playing using that with Distress Spritz, the new Distress Spritz, the Ranger one, because then it makes your infusions sparkly. So I've actually got behind him in here sparkly infusions stars. And again, he's shouting surprise. And now this one is a little bit different. So this one is more like in, I suppose like a little, I don't know, scrapbook style maybe. And a lot of this is washi tape in the background. So I've got a whole bucket on my desk really of bits, scraps, bits of paper and washi and things, and I've put him on here. Now you'll notice he's quite pinky. I find red a little bit careful. I have to be careful with red because it can look a little bit like a crime scene when you add a lot of red. So I quite often do a pinky red. So a lot of my Christmassy things are a little bit more pinky. I just find it slightly easier to manage. But you see how nice because he's tall and slender shape there, it just fits really nicely on that tag. Now you could put this on, it could be a gift tag, quite an elaborate gift tag really. You could hang it on your tree. You could do several like this and string them as bunting maybe, have it hanging up over your fireplace. Or he could just be like that, he'd just become a card topper. So lots of uses for these kind of slender shapes and easier to cut out. And I think, yes, here we are, and another one by Katie Norgate. How nice these stars look here in the contrast. Ho, ho, ho. Now then, let's have a look at... So this is set 008. And there's lots to use on here. Now I think this is the slightly frazzled looking fairy. I think she could actually work not as Christmassy. I think it could go either way. And this one, although it's a reindeer, if you take his antlers off, he does look a little bit like a dog. So I think you can get a little bit playful with these things. So let's have a look at, I've got quite a lot of samples with this one because I quite like that fairy. Yeah, let's start with this fairy. No, it's a little bit shiny. I'll try and get the angle right. So first of all, behind here, I've got the primitive stars, but as well as so I've done a print first with infusions like this. I think that's infusion, so it might be an alcohol. I don't know. Anyway, it's a very faint one. But then I also put some infusions on Duralar wet media, and it takes quite a while to dry, but it does give a huge amount of depth to the background if you layer up. So I've layered up the matching stars over the background with this on top, and it gives so much depth in that background. And again, that's in one of the lives recorded, which is under the guides section, so you can have a look back at that. And so here I've got the stars in the background, and there's a layer of the Duralar over the top with infusions building up the depth in that background there. And here she is, I think coloured in watercolours there. And again, there's a colouring video linked of how I colour, because I like often to leave a lot of white space. If there's a lot of pattern in your background and a lot of pattern in your image, things can get a little bit overlaid and a little bit too much going on. But
if you leave a little bit of white space, and even with a white border, it just helps your images to stand out. So there you can see the whole background. But I also wanted her to be hanging as a fairy. So I've got another bit of acetate, it's actually graphics, the Doolar again there, and this mistletoe. That is such a handy little stamp just to add to anything. It's just really funny. She's sort of waiting under the mistletoe for her Christmas kisses. And again, notice all of this black. Yeah, because I'm going to show you shortly how I do that. So there's the first one of the fairies. Now the Christmas tree, let's have a look. Oh, we've still got people joining from Australia. Oh, good morning. It's evening here. So this one, if you don't know what colour to colour your Christmas tree, do it in rainbow. You can't go wrong with rainbow. Again, though, notice, look, I've still got quite a lot of white space here. Now, because I don't want to put too much pattern on top of pattern, I kept this bit fairly plain, and it's just the little star stamp here. That's just one of those really useful little background fillers. So when I drew these, I then spattered ink on the top with my dip pen so that you get the stars and the spatters. It gives you just a nicer kind of little distress background, so you can see it here and a little bit in the background there, and just in pink so it didn't overpower it with too much black around there. And now you can see as well how I've borrowed the banner that goes around the little stand people here. So you can start to mix and match if you've got more than one stamp set. And here's the smaller trees. So all I've done here is I've stamped them from the set here, coloured them in, cut them out with a border. Remember, I do cheat though because I've got a digital cutter, but cut them out with a border, and then I've just mounted them onto some craft. Now I quite like craft because if you can bring it a bit closer so you can see, then with white Posca and glitter I've added extra little like little snowflakes around there, and that's a really simple way to do a Christmas tree card. Really simple, just to colour them in, cut them out, stick them on. And here, but here's another way to use those. I think there's another one somewhere, I've mislaid it. Never mind, I did a few of these. So you can stamp the Christmas trees, colour them in, and just cut them out, separate them, and just to put on a tag like that. Really simple, really nice, just to go on your Christmas gift, like little gift cards. In the background, again, I've used this star. It's just one of those really useful background stencils, and all I've done, because I'm on craft here, I've used the distress ink, I think the walnut one, and just sponged it through, and it just brings that extra little bit of Christmas into the background as well. And you can add the little quotes, surprise, Christmas kisses, and then I've just added Hessian, and that's a bit of sari silk ribbon. And now then, this actually was a journal page, but so I did it to fit in here. But I usually do them on loose cards so that when I go to shows and things or teaching, I've got things to hand around. So really this one was intended as a journal page. The colours are lovely, aren't they? This here is, and again you can have a look back at the lives from last time when I was playing with alcohol ink. Hang on, let me just put that over a white background. And that's alcohol ink on the Doolar wet media, because it's such a great way to lay it up and build colour in the backgrounds there. So what I've done, this bit around the edge was just rough scribble painting with a paintbrush and the paper Artsy paints. And here you can see I have got let me just grab a piece here. Slightly different colour, but I'm using the stars again in the background. This one also had the stars on, but then I've layered it with the alcohol inks on top, and it just builds up and gives you different colours there. It's created purples where it's overlapped when I didn't have purples. Here's that mistletoe again, and this time with this stamp. So when I put the stamp on here, I thought you can use this in different ways. So you could just have "'Tis the season to be," and then cut out the one word that you might want to have. So "'Tis the season to be jolly." "'Tis the season to be thankful." But I also think you can use it here like a little tick list. So "'Tis the season to be jolly, thankful, grumpy." In this case, she is tipsy, but you know, you could also be tired. So I just think that's quite funny. And in the background, you will also see, now this stencil from last time, this is the kind of the go-to. The go-to that kind of goes with everything. So you'll also see quite a bit of that there as well. Now I'm going to put my stamps to one side and have a look at the stencils. I've kind of thrown everything in a pile at the side to get myself sorted. Now, thanks for your comments, everyone. I do miss quite a lot of them when I'm busy talking, but I will look back later, read your comments and answer any questions. So thanks. Keep those comments and questions coming now. So three stencil sets here. The moon, just because I love the moon. Flowers, like I said, came from the little hat, the little flower hat thing here. And stars also came from one of the sets and the tree, and I just kind of took those on. They're not even Christmassy even, they can just be for all year round really. Stars are just stars, aren't they? So let's start with the stars. This is 440. When I start making samples, the first thing I do, let me just grab some samples here. The first thing I do is just make loads of backgrounds. Then I've got lots and lots to choose from, and it also stops me from the overthinking. So if you start a card from scratch, the first thing you do, you think, oh, what colour shall I do the background? And then you're almost straight away sort of overthinking. Whereas if you have several, so some of these are alcohol ink, that's infusions, that's an alcohol ink. This one is, it can be, like I said, a bit of a crime scene, the red. You just got to be a little bit careful, I think. But there's quite nice like white layers. This is another infusions. And here is an alcohol ink print. And like I said before, with that layer over the top. But you've also seen how I've used that star in backgrounds here. Super useful stars, I don't think you can go wrong. Now the next one is the flowers. This is 441. This is almost, it reminds me, it's a bit retro 1970s, I think. I'm sure I used to have a dress like this when I was a little girl with that kind of flower on. And now you can see how I've used a lot of these. So if you do several like this, look, you get all of these colours. Now it also, I think, doing it this way encourages you to try different colour combinations. So you might, for instance, oh, there's the moon that's got in there. You might not, for instance, not think of putting these two together, or you might just be looking for a bit, layer it up. So it's really nice to have different things to choose from when you're working. And I'm not sure if you can see this on the camera, but when I did these ones, the infusions, now you'll have seen, if you've seen my live when I was using the infusions, again you can check in the guides, I quite often mix infusions with water first and then splat it on a wet background, and it gives me this very runny background. But this time, and this was a little trick I picked up from my friend Sarah, who goes by the art of Moodling. She's a fellow creative mess maker. I don't think she'd mind me calling her that. But she taught me about this. Mixing Distress Spritz with things like infusions gives you sparkly infusions. So these ones actually are quite sparkly. The moon. Now in my last release I did a little moon phase one, a bit different to this, but it was quite small. So this time I went for slightly bigger, and you do get these nice kind of graphic circles on something like this. When I'm doing the alcohol ink print, sometimes you get quite a lot of colour with your first prints, and often the second and third ones are better, but you need to do these ones to get to these ones. However, I save every print and use every bit, because even though this had quite a lot of colour on, this is what I cut out of here to make the window. So you know, every bit gets used. When you have a nice strong circle on a print like this, let me just find, all right, here's one coloured in already, look. If you've got a nice strong circle like that, it is actually a really good place to put over your, if you want like a face, it just sits really well. So anything like that, it works really well to have a circle, and it's just a good placement for images, for faces and so on. So that is the moon. Now then, a few coloured bits here. Now these ones, actually these ones are mostly done in watercolour. I started that one. I do often though colour in the my tints. Oh, let me just have a look. Do you place the stencil first before the infusion? There is actually, so Sarah's asking a question. If you go to the guides and look up under my name, you'll see a live video that I did with the exact technique for doing the infusions. So Sarah's asking about this kind of thing. Now, one thing I did notice though, when I've done this, when you're mixing infusions with water, there's a huge amount of water in there. Now, some mediums don't mind what card you use. So if you're using acrylic paint, you can pretty much paint on most surfaces. If you are printing off a gel plate, you can print on most surfaces. I've even done it on cereal boxes. But if you're using something with a high water content, then it's fussy about card. So when to get my really clean results like this, so I can see the pattern and things like this, I use the Paper Artsy Smoothie card, because that has just the right absorbency for the high water content. Also, all of my stamps are stamped onto Smoothie card, because it takes all of the water in the watercolours or whatever I'm choosing really, really well. So if you've tried that technique with infusions and you're wanting to get a slightly cleaner print, try the Smoothie card. This is the lighter weight one. I think it's 200, might be 240, can't remember, but it's the lighter weight one, and this works really well. So I put the infusions down first, stencil on top, just blot it off over the top, and then importantly leave the stencil to dry on the card, and when you lift it you'll have this pattern behind. But if you're not having good results, try it with Smoothie card. So a lot of these are coloured in, oh she's not, these are just coloured in regular watercolours, which I really like using my watercolours, but watercolours aren't always the easiest thing to use. They do tend to mix and run away with you a little bit, so often I use the Matins. So this one, she's coloured completely in Matins, and I've got a little bit of Stabilo pencil on top to give her some depth, and again you'll find it in the guide. And this one I started, I was demoing at a show recently, so I've got lots of like bits and bobs of not quite finished things. So sometimes I use my tints, sometimes I use watercolours. My tints are extremely easy to blend and use actually for colouring on images. Now I've grabbed a few bits here because you can see I've already used these and cut bits out. This is with infusions and a stencil to give me that flower shape there. So when I was talking before about sometimes you don't want too much pattern. If you have pattern on pattern and lots of colour and then you try and put an image on top as well, it can all get a little bit too bogged down in colour and pattern. So I also like with the infusions sometimes just to do splattered backgrounds, lots of water, but it's much more pastel-y. That is a more comfortable place for images to sit. Sometimes, I mean, you do whatever you think, but sometimes if I put that on the very bright background and then this, it all gets a little bit lost. Whereas if I put, ignore this rough hand cut out circle here, this is just to give you an example, an idea. And then he sits more comfortably in here, or let's try something else. Let's try the Tipsy Fairy. And she sits nicely in that round, but because the background is a little bit lighter, she isn't getting sort of too lost on there. And then of course, now I haven't got everything coloured here, but this is my old, look, scruffy basket of all my bits that I use. I cut loads of things out first, and then I've got bits to choose from. Let's see, maybe she's waiting for a kiss again, so we can give her a little bit of... In fact, you could even have that coming out from underneath. So this is just when you start playing about with colours and patterns. Now, I keep saying to you as well about the black that I've been using. Let's move her to one side for a minute. So, I have been using the star stencil and the flower stencil. I'm going back to the old favourite, the must-have for everything, the mixed media marks, and I've been using just a regular Sharpie on, this is actually, it's not the wet medium, it's just the regular film, the Graphics Dural film. You could perhaps even just do this on acetate because Sharpie will work just on regular acetate. And all I do is colour through. Do you know, it's a really, really satisfying activity. I've got quite a few different sheets of it, and you can also do it in colour. This is a great time of year, by the way, to buy Sharpies because it's back to school season and they're everywhere. So I've got loads of these little bits and bits cut out, look, and this is all just coloured through, straight through the stencil. You can actually see on this one, look, the black lines where I've gone through. Washes off the nail varnish remover for Sharpie. And this is such an easy, quick way, I'm obsessed with it, to add hang on, I can't think and move things at the same time and talk. Okay, so it's such an easy way to add black marks. You know, if you are stamping with the black, you get one chance to get that right, don't you? I'm not the world's greatest stamper. I should be really, as a stamp designer, but I'm not. I'm messy. But here, look, she could do maybe with something behind her head. And you can just hold that in place with like a regular glue. And this one, behind the scenes here, by the way, it's absolute carnage, is from here, and I've just cut a bit out of there. You could add that over, it just kind of beds her into that background. You can give her a little Christmas star somewhere. And it's so easy, and you'll see it on most things. How much I've added here. And that's the little crosses that's from the mixed media. Yeah, so I think quite a few of you will have this stencil now, and then just a different way to use your stencils. Shortly I'll be doing a whole video on that, and I will link to that in my group. If you haven't joined my group yet, here on Facebook, it's Create with Kate. Come and join. People share loads and loads of fabulous creative ideas in there. Right, I'm just rummaging for another. Let's see what could go on there. Just something fun to play around with, and just an easy way to build up those elements on your backgrounds. Now this coloured one, if I just go back to this one here, you see the coloured dots here. There they are. Look. Hang on, let me get my white paper again. That helps, doesn't it? So here I've just used all my coloured Sharpies, because of course I had to go and buy the whole full set of colours, because that's, you know, you need the full set, obviously. And then here on the blue, so behind I've got the stars, and then I've layered it with blue polka dots through the stencil with the Sharpies, Sharpied circles here, little black rose here. That's all just done on the Duralar with the stencils. It's fun, try it. As I say, I'm doing a whole video on that shortly, and I will link and share that with everybody. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, colouring in. So when you are colouring in something like this little reindeer, if you colour him in all in reindeer colour, yeah, I don't really know what colour that is, but you know, reindeer colour, he looks like just a reindeer. If you colour his body in here, like so I've got a grey reindeer head, now it looks like he's got his Christmas sweater on. So you've got choices of how to colour things. If I can find it. Oh, here, this one as well. Now, excuse me while I rummage, looking for the sample. There it is. So, this one is all in grey, so she's kind of rabbit coloured top to toe. Here, she's got a rabbit hood on, but she's got a different coloured sweater on. Things I never thought I'd be saying. Ha! So, I think that is about it for now. I hope that's given you some inspiration, some ideas. I'm looking forward to see what you do with everything. If you've got questions, yeah, keep asking. Oh yeah, somebody was asking about Posca pens on. Yes, you absolutely can use Posca pens on. Yeah, I think you're talking about. I'm sorry, I missed it. It just flashed up and it's gone now. On this kind of, this is just the regular film I used here, the Duralar Graphics film. But they are paint pens and they are opaque. So when I use Sharpies, they're actually a little bit transparent. So you will get a different look if you use Poscas. They'll take a bit longer to dry because they're paint pens. Whereas when you use, I've forgotten the name now, Sharpies. Sharpies dry extremely fast because they are solvent based. You can smell they're solvent based. So they dry really fast. You know, you can play about outlining them and things. So yes, you can use Poscas, but they dry slower and they are opaque. So they will just give you a very different look. I might try it myself now you suggested it. So let me just put my samples out here and let's have a look, because the Katie Norgate shed, oh look at this. Another one from Katie Norgate, purple reindeer on that gorgeous purple background. All of these samples I'll be sharing on my blog. Another one, Katie. So I did rainbow trees. She's done a trio of greens that looks really fabulous. And this one, I really like this one. Look. And this is what I mean when you get other people, or you look at what other people are making, completely different way to use that mistletoe stamp, and it just works so well. That's so cute. Yeah, and I'll be sharing all of these on my blog and Facebook over the next few days. Lots of close-ups. And you see how much of this. Look, now you've seen the black through the stencil on the acetate or the Duralar. You can't get away from it. It's there. It's everywhere. So any more questions before I disappear for my tea? I'm just having a quick look now. People are saying, fabulous. Oh, yeah, somebody's saying they didn't know there was cardstock to buy. Yeah, let me just see if I can find it to show you. Yeah, the smoothie card. So this is now, I keep this card for when I draw all my stamp designs on here. I keep it for when I really need it, anything watery, colouring in with, well, anything water-based, and definitely the infusions. That is the go-to. It's posh, it's nice, it's super, it works brilliantly. Acrylic paints, as I say, can do really on anything. People saying lovely things. Thank you, wonderful creations. Yeah, oh, best cardstock. Amanda's agreeing with me. It really is. Yeah, beautiful cardstock, definitely. And it gets you results as well. So I'm just checking to see if anybody's got any more questions before I disappear. And I'm looking forward to see what you all share as well, because I know you'll find something really different. Thank you, Anita. Adorable, great release. Thank you. I hope you have fun with it all. I really do. I'm not usually a big Christmassy person, but I do like a bit, and I don't post a lot of cards these days. I don't think any of us do. But if I do want to give a card to someone, I want it to be a good one. I want it to be meaningful. So that's why I like to make a few Christmassy things. Fabulous samples, thank you. Love the new designs, love them all. Oh, so kind. Thank you all. Thank you so much. And really, really looking forward to seeing what you all create. Right, I'm disappearing now. I'm hoping to hit the right button and save it to the group. I'll be saving it to my creative group as well. As I say, do come over and join me there. Create with Kate. And yeah, and it's Jofi's turn. Oops, sorry, dropping things here. Jofi's turn. Jofi's got a new release tomorrow, also looking a little bit Christmassy, so you're spoilt for choice with the Christmas. Right, thank you very much, everybody, and hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.